The life in society for the human one is relatively recent, 300,000 years, in relation with its presence on the earth. We believe ourselves as a superior being created at God's image, thus perfect, such as described in the Bible. However, the reality is quite different because our evolution always continues since millions of years. The primary natural human instinct leads us to the survival of the species, which come from the reptilian brain, seat of our primary instinct, reproduction by the sex, survival instinct, and our hierarchical identity as a person in the society. The limbic brain and its emotion appear much later, with its parental instinct, which enabled these species to ensure the survival of its offspring. Our action and achievement come from the influence of the primary instinct, work for survival, coupling by the sex, and the ambition determine our social position. Our knowledge and emotion are found in specific memories. Our rational brain is the last of the triunic brain. He is responsible for our scientific evolution and achievement. Our triunic brain has developed throughout millenniums the neurological bond that interconnect our reptilian, limbic, and rational brain. The flow of knowledge and ability is managed by the central processor, who dispatch the information between the various memories. The existence of the central processor does not achieve the unanimity among the scientific colony, but appears in many documents associated to the management of our memories. The spatial memory stores space and orientation, the declaratory memory, the detailed descriptive explanation, the emotive memory, the emotions, the semantic memory, our knowledge, the procedural memory, our performance and motricity, and the episodical memory, the event, date, and places. This accumulation of knowledge throughout the millennia has contributed to the increase in the brain volume, which passes from 500 cm to 1500 and will reach 2000 in 1 million years. The intelligence differentiates the man from the animal. The species close to human like horses, dog, cat get domesticated more and more. The intelligence has a panoramic access of our acquisition throughout the central processor, thus permitting to certain individuals to work out assumptions which lead to theory like the gravity by Newton, the theory of relativity by Einstein, the evolution of the species of Darwin, and those of Leonardo da Vinci and his flying machine, which were carried out successfully much later. These discoveries start from assumptions which are validated or invalidated by research and experimentation, resulting, of course, from an open mind which calls upon the intelligence of the researcher. The main occupation of our distant cousin, the Homo sapiens, was limited to hunting to survive, whereas our lifestyle is completely different due to the improvement of our rational brain and its scientific progress. Transmission of knowledge from generation to generation has contributed throughout the millennium to improve our lifestyle. By observing the graph on the evolution of the brains, one note that the reptilian and limbic brain remains underdeveloped in comparison with the neocortex, the rational brain. We still remain vulnerable to emotive solicitation. We are involved in overconsumption, in the exploitation of all kinds, leading to wars in the name of a religion or a flag which does not have more value than the tissue on which it is made of. However, it causes the suffering and death of millions of individuals. The amygdala of the limbic brain manages our pleasant or unpleasant feeling, the emotion. in collaboration with the hippocampus, which holds the source of the event at the origin of the emotion. The birth or the death of a child represent emotion recorded in the amygdala, whereas the event related to this feeling is stored in the hippocampus. Having reached its maturity only after 3 years of existence, the hippocampus is unaware of the origin of a physical or psychological aggression which can occur on a child before this period of time. Any traumatism will affect his entire life. The emotional stability is essential for the well-being of the child. The improvement of the climatic condition on the earth is responsible for the creation of many new species and predators, thus increasing the food chain. The instinct of survival has contributed to the discovery of fire, steel, stone, a direct consequence of the evolution of the rational brain. The Australopithecus became eventually an Homo sapiens, the wise man of modern age. The man always depends on his primitive instinct to survive, whereas his socialization and humanization rely on the family self-value, which is transmitted from generation to generation. Centered mostly on the overconsummation, the human wants to individualize himself and forsake his family bond and its human value. The rich countries see their population growth in a free fall because of the abortion and the law which prioritizes the person to the detriment of the community. We observe massive immigration coming from underdeveloped countries to fulfill manpower needs. However, the man remains as primitive as prehistoric time in his relation with the others. He always exploits, rape, kill to appease his primary instinct of sex, richness, and power. This race for money has its limit, and one can suppose that in few millennia, humanization associated to the limbic brain will prevail, thus completing its scientific and emotional evolution. The religion appeared around 3,000 years ago as a spiritual answer to the irrational problem of fear. The faith in God represents for the believer a secure refuge. However, the decision of the religion practice leaves room to an insecurity which is filled by the antidepressant or drugs of all kinds. The evolution of the triunic brain will eventually bring it closer to wisdom at the price of epidemic, exploitation, and war, which will decimate many countries, but possibly in several hundred of thousands of years, the man will humanize and recognize the force of love.